Always nice to see hourly candles that look green. It looks all nice. It gives you the bullish feelings. For especially the hopium enthusiasts, it gives you that nice feeling. And you can see the hourly chart right now. Nice move to the upside. But is there reason to be cautious is always a question. And some people might perceive that as bearish. But in the long-term scope of this shift of Bitcoin into the bull market, which is what we're getting ready for, caution is warranted because we get huge dips. We get huge fake outs all the time, oftentimes illustrated on an hourly chart, an hourly fake out. And I want to break down what's going on this chart. And more importantly, not only why I think it's necessary to be a little bit cautious, but I do want to break down the bullish case for Bitcoin for the hopium enthusiasts. If Bitcoin does kind of the unthinkable, why is it happening? There's one chart that we should all be mindful of. It might surprise many of you. We're going to talk about that in this video. But first, let's talk about realistically, and that's what I'm here for, everybody. I'm not here to appeal to bullish emotions or bearish emotions. I'm here to track data because I like to push emotion aside and just track data. So I can just kind of have my head in the game in a realistic way, not getting wrapped up into the sensationalism of Bitcoin hourly candles. Right? So let's do this realistically and let's talk about this. Some really important targets to continue tracking for Bitcoin. The first things first, the next 24 to 36 hours are important, especially if you've been watching my technical analysis, maybe others too. Just tracking this monthly candle has become kind of important to me. One day, 9 hours left finally, and this monthly candle kind of flew by, and you can see Bitcoin so indecisive right now. The 50-month moving average is the area we want to see. Is Bitcoin closing above or below that area? At the end of the day, this indecisiveness on the monthly candle is obviously a show of resistance at the 50-month moving average. We got the move to the 50-month, and this is the first time in Bitcoin's history it's testing that area. We want to see the move of separation above. It has not happened. We're going to continue tracking that. Now we start digging into the short term. Why to be cautious? What to analyze as we're getting kind of maybe these shorter term green moves to the upside. So this is a weekly chart, but it does apply to the short term. We still are below the 50-week moving average, and that is right around 24,100, and the 200-week moving average around 25,300 or so. Now, those areas are important when we start diving in even to the 6-hour charts. You see this upper trend line that Bitcoin was consolidating at was right around $25,200 to $300, right? So Bitcoin has this huge, massive macro resistance on the weekly right there at that 200-week moving average. That's number one. But then we start digging into the charts. You all know, if you've been watching my TA, we have this target to the $22,000 area. It's a higher low area. I'm not necessarily, just because of this move right here, convinced that it's not going to happen. I'm not trying to throw any bearish vibes out there or to create any type of fear, uncertainty, or doubt, but I want to explain why I think there's reason to be cautious. So the first perfect illustration is just the very fact that when Bitcoin had this previous swing high and actually came down below the 20-day moving average, it did for a moment pop above the 20-day moving average before falling to the target. We're kind of in a similar move right now, falling below the 20-day, popping above. And right now in the short term is where we are. There's a case for Bitcoin failing here and falling to the target, to that lower trend line. And it's just something I want to evaluate. It's not something I'm predicting or saying that it's going to happen. But if we just remain patient more on the zoomed out version of Bitcoin, not so much the hourly, and get all hype about what's happening on the hourly, I think we get a better grasp of the markets. And we're at least able to, for me, and this is just my approach, survive the markets more sustainably without the mental, confusion, right? And that's why I do these things. Now, going to the 6-hour, this all comes together. And then after we dig into this 6-hour chart, everybody, just stick around for a minute. We're going to look at that one chart for the case for Bitcoin to actually kind of continue to the upside and see a nice, massive breakout. I want to show you what that looks like. But on the 6-hour chart, notice these two areas. We just discussed Bitcoin at this previous swing high, coming down, kind of a little fake out right there, and then falling to the target. Similar vibes. Bitcoin, swing high, coming down, a little fake out potentially in play before the target. Now, this is illustrated not only on the price chart that we're looking at on the 6-hour, we go to the momentum oscillator. Check this out. Bitcoin was falling, little bit of a bounce. There's that fake out, and then to the target, right into oversold. Bitcoin was falling most recently, Here's our bounce that we're within right now. And then is it going to be this fake out similar to what we got last time, right down into oversold to complete the journey from overbought to oversold on the 6-hour RSI? This is something that I'm just very much watching, right? Because we have been in a downtrend on the 6-hour, and the case for hitting this oversold area on the RSI is in play. What that would look like would be kind of right now, this move to the upside, a little bit of a fake out, kind of pulling in those bulls, that bullish hopium, before falling to our target, which is the lower trend line in the $22,000 region out of this ascending triangle. That's what we're anticipating. On the daily chart, this is what it looks like, and it would be of no surprise to just consolidate all the way back down in between all of these moving averages as they all converge together. This is exactly what we want to see in a bear market pivot into bull market. And this is going to be a multi-week, multi-month type of consolidation that is normal to see, but it's okay, in my opinion, to see it. Now, let's talk about the bullish case, because I know we all enjoy Bitcoin just continuing to the upside, defying odds, not hitting bearish targets, right? We all enjoy that, but let's check out the chart that could really fuel that growth. And it's over here. It's the S&P 500. We've been tracking stock market. We've been tracking the US dollar currency index. And you can see when the US dollar currency index is falling, and you see this red candle right now on the US dollar currency index, Bitcoin, risk on, like S&P 500, start rising. And that's what's happening right now so far for the daily. We've had these higher lows kind of in play, this trend to the upside since October of 2022 for the S&P 500. And right now, we're kind of testing most recently. We had the close last week at the lower trend line, bouncing right now, but is this going to hold? Are we going to see continued upside? If this happens, then the Bitcoin target to the downside that we've been discussing almost doesn't matter if S&P stock market is going to, in the very short term, literally today, continue to the upside, because Bitcoin might defy and kind of just completely gravitate away from this target down here. Now, here's the thing. If S&P 500 struggles, right, today, then this could be the exact setup for Bitcoin to hit the target to the downside, that $22,000 region. And this is something that we should anticipate potentially happening. But right now, the US dollar currency index, what's it doing? It's simply testing this previous resistance. So swing high to swing low, we've been tracking as it kind of approached this lower high Fibonacci. We've been tracking the resistance right here, the 618, came up to the 786, kind of fell to the 618, broke out of the channel, and right now it is testing the 786 to the downside. So broke out of the channel, and now we're testing that channel. This could be a higher low for the US dollar currency index, in which case, if we see support at this Fibonacci or at these moving averages as we get this 20-day crossing above the 50-day, if we get this continuation on the US dollar currency index, we need to be careful with Bitcoin, stock market, risk on stuff, because likely they will be falling if the US dollar currency index does this. So it really has to do with this chart and this chart, the S&P 500, the stock market, what's going on there in terms of the next target that is hit. I would just say, and I know it's just not popular, especially when we start getting, and look, we're getting a red hourly candle right now, but it's not popular when we're getting green moves to the upside to discuss downside. But if we start zooming out on the chart, we realize, you know what? They're just short-term hourly moves. Let's be realistic. Let's remember the trend that we're in, and let's remember targets that are potentially in play and what could fuel those targets being hit. That's what I'm here doing, because I don't like getting wrapped up into just these shorter-term moves. It's too easy to kind of be blinded by everything else that's going on in the markets, right? So daily chart, the other thing just to note, and I'll end here, is we have had this price action, higher highs, and we've had lower highs on the RSI. It's bearish divergence. Now, the consolidation of all of this, it's getting close, right, to coming to an end, but one last fall could be in play, right? Consolidation to the downside, very much in play on all of these charts, just being cautious of it, waiting for confirmation, and those things stem from charts like the stock market over here, S&P 500, and they stem from just shorter term moves on the Bitcoin charts that we're going to continue tracking. Let me know your thoughts, everybody. How are you doing out there? What do you think about Bitcoin, crypto markets? What do you think is the next move? Hit that subscribe, hit that like for me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.